They want the best rate and the best mortgage program for their situation. They need to consider interest rate, fees, term, length of time, however you want to pose that to them. But there are a lot of things on a mortgage document, all of which are either set fee or negotiable fees that they can talk their way through. Make sure they understand it and get the best rates so that that company is buying their business. Types of mortgage. Conventional loans. These are the most common types of home loans. U.S. government does not guarantee conventional loans. Most conventional loans allow first-time home buyers in their programs to purchase with as little as 3% down. FHA loans. FHA loans are insured by the Federal Housing Administration. They allow the buyers to purchase the home with less strict financial and credit scores, but at higher risks than a conventional loan. The FHA loans, buyers can qualify with as low as 580, maybe even lower if I looked back today. Credit scores and down payments as low as 3.5% for some of these programs. Don't forget about U.S. Department of Agriculture. The USDA actually has loans that are guaranteed by their office. They are specifically for suburban and rural home buyers and have household income restrictions. So they usually require no down payment for those that qualify, but they are specific to certain types of buyers buying homes in certain agricultural areas. So you'll want to go to the USDA website and find out where those areas are. So before you waste a whole lot of paperwork, if you're looking in an area that qualifies specifically to use the USDA programs, if that's what your client's interested in. And then, of course, the VA. These loans are guaranteed by the Department of Veterans Affairs. And I said guaranteed. These are exclusively for veterans, active duty armed forces, National Guard members, and their qualified spouses. They allow those who qualify to buy a home with zero, remember, down payment money. This is not to cover closing costs, fees, and additional services. This is only to cover a zero down payment opportunity. Regardless of any of the programs that they choose, in today's market especially, whenever I go in to make an offer, 9 times out of 10, the seller is asking for some type of qualification measurement. How's my buyer vetted? How can I show them that my buyer can actually afford this? And in a first-time home buyer scenario, this is crucial for you to be able to set the relationship with the seller side of the table up for success. This is where we get to pre-approvals and pre-qualifications. There is no sense in wasting time shopping for a home, in my opinion, if your buyers are not prepared to make an offer when they find the home that they love. That is like window shopping for the sake of getting yourself excited to never make a purchase. Getting a pre-approval letter is going to give your client a huge advantage when it is time to write up an offer and negotiate. The power of their buying opportunity is what's going to make them a stronger buyer at the table, which you are going to leverage as their agent when you are negotiating with the seller on the final price, the final concessions, if any, and any type of repairs, etc. They are going to know what the lender has tentatively approved them for, so they won't be tempted to veer off into unaffordable territory, right? This is going to keep your client from having sticker shock. It will come in a letter format. It will tell them what type of loan they are approved for, how fast they could typically close on a loan, and how much buying power they have, meaning they should be making offers for homes for X amount of dollars or less for this bank's approval to be sufficient. Research, research, research. When it comes to buying a house, and don't get me wrong, kids, they're out there shopping on the internet long before they talk to an educated professional. But one of the best first-time home buyer tips that I can give them is do some research. Check out the neighborhoods, not just the houses that you like the pretty pictures of, because we talked about that in some of our previous classes. Getting catfished by a bunch of photos is not going to be a good experience for you. If you are going to invest in a home, a product in a certain area, you need to know about the neighborhoods, the schools, the local amenities, long before you look for the house in that area. If they find a home in a neighborhood or a town that doesn't suit their needs, their commute to work, their expectation of their daily activities, if they're a runner, if they need to be by the city, if they have dogs and pets and need to be able to have capabilities of taking these animals for walks, if they are planning to have children and want to be in communities that either have schools in the communities or good quality schools nearby, these are things they need to look for, or buying the house of their dreams in the wrong area is going to make them miserable. Nobody lives in a bubble. Urge your buyers to explore these areas and ensure they can access the things they need, the shopping, the restaurant, their work, and their commute during a commute time before they decide that you need to go out and show off houses. This is what's going to help them figure out what area suits them best. Do a drive through. Get in the car with your client if necessary and drive them through to the houses that they're looking at, and then say to your phone, find restaurants near me, find schools near me, find fun things to do and nightlife near me. Depending on the age group of this first time home buyer that you have, there might be other things that they are interested in that you might want to look up on Google before you decide to shop in that neighborhood. If it's going to take them 30 minutes to get into town, or 25 minutes and Uber Eats is not a capability for them and they work at home, that might be something that they need to consider. And then, of course, is the best part, the actual house hunting itself. The important foundation work is done. You've got all the pre-qualifications and pre-approval documentation that you need. You've done some nice vetting with an MLO and you've got yourself established, and everybody is green lighting. Get out there and find the home of your dreams. Now's the exciting part, the house hunt. You need to absolutely never start without a plan in place for your buyer. When your clients are buying a home for the first time, you need to follow some simple steps just to make sure everybody is making the best use of time while they are together. Number one, how do you work with a real estate agent? A lot has changed for home buyers in the last few years. Most notably, what's coming up is how commissions are paid to the agents and whose definitive responsibility that is. Not that it hasn't always occurred, but it hasn't always necessarily been open and transparent and been an initial part of a conversation. And that's what these new actions are about. Forcing agents to have the conversations in advance of doing business with their buyers and their sellers. As a buyer's agent now, especially, more notably, they have a more important explanation to give. You need to explain your value better. You need to break down why your clients need you working for them and why you're worth every penny of their commission. And yes, where that commission will be coming from. With these new buyer's agreements that are going to be exposed in the early stages of communication before that first house is shown, it's a contract stating that any homes that we're going to be looking at together, I have an expectation of making a commission. I also have an expectation that that commission can be negotiated throughout, where it's going to be paid, who's going to be paying it, and just like a concession on the seller or the buyer side, it will be negotiated in advance who should be expected to pay that. These can be complicated conversations. You need to be working with your broker, and you need to be working with a brokerage that knows how to support the conversations too. It should be easy. These conversations have always existed. We just haven't forced them to be in the forefront like they should be to be transparent for all the clients involved. But be prepared, agents. If you think that you're going to skate through these conversations and not show value, when you are exposing the amount of money that you make in a commission to a first-time home buyer that has never had these conversations before, beware. Shock and awe and sticker price is certainly going to be a problem. Back to the buyer. You need to create a list of wants versus needs. Sit your clients down with that house hunting checklist that we had talked about. We need to review the needs and the wants that each of them are having. You may have an entire family at the table with you. Depending on how they are pooling funds, you might even have an elder for a home that is moving in too, and that their vote is critically important to the success of the entire family. Your checklist that you're going to go over should have plenty of tips and tricks for all of your first-time home buyers to leverage. So be sure to explain features in the new home purchase process or the resale home purchase process beyond just how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms do we need. The nice to haves like covered patios, pools, backyard space. These are some of the things that if they're going to be deal breakers, you need to know where they are in the conversations, and not just for them, but also, Mr. or Mrs. Agent, for you. Don't let them get sidetracked and you not have the responsibility of that checklist in front of you to pull them back into the line. You might have to go, hey, don't forget, this house you want to go look at tomorrow does not have a big backyard. It was critical for you guys because of either your children or yourselves wanting outside opportunities and entertainment, or your pets to have significant outdoor space. If the home that they're choosing to go and tour tomorrow doesn't have that, make sure to call it out. If they are still so in love with the house itself and potentially the price point that's driving them in that direction, fantastic. Still go look at the home, but call it out in advance so that doesn't become a deal breaker and you start wasting each other's time. Absolutely know that lots of features can be added on post-closing if they still want them. Realistic. Be prepared to educate your buyers, especially first-time home buyers, on being realistic. If you've been in real estate more than 5 minutes, you know there is no such thing as a perfect house. That unicorn that everybody is looking for needs to be explained. They will not find it. You are not going to check every box on their list. But if you can check all of the needs boxes, the wants boxes should be flexible. Set their expectations to be open to homes that aren't quite everything that they want. And don't get stuck on the face. Makeup can be changed. Adding some paint, changing some flooring later, brightening up with some window treatments. These are all things that can be cosmetically adjusted. Look at the structure, look at the home, picture yourself living there, and make sure that the type of furnishings and the type of lifestyle that you have in that community is a good fit. You want to wake up every day in your new master bedroom and know, I'm happy here. Set those expectations that not every home is going to have every single thing that they want. It's okay to find a truly amazing house that fits them perfectly, even if it's a little less than perfect. Big tack on to that. We want to make sure the home that they're looking for is going to fit their needs and their budget. As frustrating as it can be already to buy that house, the first-time home buyers are going to be tempted to bump up their budget a little bit if they can't necessarily find exactly what they're looking for. And truthfully, this is their first home purchase and probably won't be their last. So everything that they want out of their price range should be considered for potentially that next step-up house that they're going to have if and when their life changes later on.